In this devotional, I'm going to share with you 3 thoughts from Deuteronomy chapter 24, verses 19 through 22, answering the question, how were the poor helped in Israel? Deuteronomy chapter 24, verses 19 through 22 says, "When you reap your harvest in your field, and forget a sheaf in the field, you shall not go back and get it. It shall be for the sojourner, the fatherless, and the widow, that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. When you beat your olive trees, you shall not go over them again. It shall be for the sojourner, the fatherless, and the widow. When you gather the grapes of your vineyard, you shall not strip it afterward. It shall be for the sojourner, the fatherless, and the widow. You shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt. Therefore, I command you to do this." If you've been reading through the Bible with me, you know that one of the constant refrains among the prophets is that the people of Israel were failing to properly care for the poor. Well, one of the ways, there's several in the law actually, but one of the ways that the people were to care for the poor was to make sure that their farming practices didn't take all of the produce of the land, but that there was always a remainder left over. And because of this, it provided for the people who didn't have success in their crops that year or who didn't have land at all. The sojourner, the widow, the orphan, they could all go through the field and they could collect enough to survive and to take care of themselves, even though they might not have been rich people. Here are 3 thoughts from Deuteronomy chapter 24, verses 19 through 22, answering how were the poor helped in Israel. Thought number 1, remainders left. This is one of the practices that the people of Israel were supposed to do. You give your field a once-over. That means you go through once, you collect what you're able to get, and you don't go back and gather it up again. If you left something behind in your field, you don't go back to pick it up, but you leave that for the people who are impoverished among you to go and collect up themselves. This is what Ruth does. She is gathering up wheat on the edges of the field. She does this because she and Naomi are impoverished because they're widows. So she is gathering what she can from where she can. By leaving a remainder for the poor to come and gather, there is sustenance available to them, so that way they can continue to work and to survive. Thought number 2, hospitality. If you go into somebody's field today, you might be met by a fella with a shotgun. Now, I live in a very agrarian area, and I can tell you that you do not want to trespass in somebody's field. You do not want to trespass in somebody's orchard. You do not want to get up in somebody's property at all, because people are not necessarily going to be particularly hospitable to you. But the expectation for the people of Israel was that you allow others to come into your field. You allow them to go through and you allow them to gather this up. This is a part of being hospitable. So instead of charging somebody with trespassing, what they would do is they would deliberately leave remainders behind and demonstrate hospitality by allowing these other people to come in and reap from their crops. Thought number 3, remembering slavery. The Lord tells the people of Israel that they are to provide for those who are poor. They are to provide for those who are suffering misfortune. They are to provide for them, not to keep them alive without any work, because obviously you have to go and collect this stuff up yourself, but they are to do this because at one point in Israel's history, they were slaves. At one point, they too were oppressed. And because they were oppressed, they have a responsibility to remember what it was like to be oppressed, to be in need, to be in want. And because of that, they recognize the necessity of taking care of those who are undergoing more difficult circumstances. They need to remember the slavery where they came from, and that way they will gladly help their fellow countrymen and even those strangers who are wandering among them. They will gladly help them because at one point in time, they too needed help. These three thoughts come from the assigned reading of Deuteronomy chapters 23 through 25. If you'd like to read through the Bible with me, you can do so by clicking the link below or by joining the Facebook group Through the Bible, where we are reading the text of Scripture together.